This is the Outrider Horizon. It's a universally designed bike, which means that you can actually configure it just a lot of different ways to accommodate riders with special needs, or just sort of like a regular bike. Like we've looked at the Outrider 422 Alpha. It's like a recumbent bicycle. You've got pedals and stuff. There are some neat options that I'm going to cover with this. I'm actually here with Tommy. How's it going, buddy?
Good, how you doing?
I'm doing great. So it's neat to see this thing in person because I know it was launched on Kickstarter. You guys hit your funding goals, and I'm seeing it in person now and actually doing a little bit of test riding. It's got some of the same characteristics as your other bike, right? It's a 3-wheel recumbent, it's got disc brakes in the front, but I'm noticing it's got some suspension here, front and rear. It's got a hub motor instead of that sort of belt drive motor on the other bike. Can you just, give me a tour of what this thing is all about? Sure. And what it's capable of?
Absolutely. So what we have here is the first generation proof of concept prototype. So rough around the edges, but the whole idea was, does this thing work? Is this a viable idea? And who it's designed for is anybody from an able-bodied person up to somebody with more involved disabilities, paraplegics, quadriplegics. And the intent here is to create a vehicle where someone of any ability, physical ability, can go just about anywhere. So for a quadriplegic rider, there's really not a vehicle right now that allows them to go out and mountain bike with their friends, or allows them to go road bike with their friends at the same speeds and on the same kind of terrain. So the idea behind the Horizon is any terrain, anywhere, with anyone. So it's a very inclusive and modular system that allows that to be possible.
Right, and I realize like it's a kind of a different review. This is, like you said, sort of a prototype, proof of concept thing, and I wanna reiterate they've been producing bikes. How long have you guys been doing this?
We've been in business since 2009. First 2 years were just all raw development, and then in 2011 we started selling bikes.
Okay, and they're awesome. I mean, I've seen these out in the wild, or rather the 422 Alpha, and it's amazing to see what they're doing. A lot of the components on that bike are actually sourced locally, and these guys are building them hands-on, and that's what makes this so special. And so can you tell me the different kind of configurations? Give me some base, point out what's going on here.
Sure. The important aspect of the Horizon is that they're all full suspension. Mm-hmm. It's a dedicated front and rear A-arm suspension. So 4 inches up front, 4 inches in the rear. This is the type of suspension that you'd find on a Baja car or any dedicated off-road vehicle. So that means you can go just about anywhere with it. And you can see that this one's been through the ringer.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Mud pits, stream crossings. We torture test everything before we release it, and that's the phase that this Horizon's in right now. So I'll give you a feel for a couple of different setups, what's modular on this.
Okay.
So as far as the pedals go, it can be configured with a normal foot pedal setup, like a normal trike. It can also be configured with this foot rest.
Right.
So for a paraplegic rider, they could use that foot rest and these traditional hand controls, or they could also configure it with a hand cycle. So they could have an electric assist hand cycle.
Wow.
So that's one configuration. Another configuration for quadriplegic riders is same foot tray, but they could use tri-pin controls. So they wouldn't need to have any tactile grip to control the hand controls, but it's just pushing and pulling with the shoulders that allows them to control it. So 2 different types of hand controls, and then also the hand cycling component, 2 different types of foot controls. And we're also going to have a seat, electrically actuated seat, that will rise up to 20 inches.
Oh, wow.
So someone in a wheelchair can slide over into the seat.
Smooth transition.
And then lower themselves back in. And that's helpful also for just older riders that have a little more problem getting in so low.
Yeah.
Allows them to ride at a higher height and get on and off the bike a little bit more easily.
That is so cool. So I actually started on electric bikes because my knee was having trouble just on my daily commute to work. And so I can only imagine as you get a little bit older, getting down into something like this. In fact, the way you're supposed to approach one of these things is you kind of step over like this, and then you grab the tire like this and sit yourself down. But trying to do that from a wheelchair or whatever, I mean, it's just stuff that I didn't really think about until you're actually considering, what's it like to not be able to use your feet, your legs, and what if you have limited mobility on your arm. So I think it's just a really special machine. It's neat that they're doing this, and again, they're all sort of different, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it can be set up for paraplegics, quadriplegics, but then also amputees. A lot of folks are coming back from the war, have lost a leg or both legs or an arm. And so we can configure the bike with a single arm control or single pedal, you know, all different kinds of modular changes that we can make. But the really important thing with this is it's not just for people with disabilities. It's a bike that an able-bodied person would want to ride just as much as somebody that has a disability. So
yeah,
that's a really important aspect.
And it's awesome. Yeah, it feels smooth. It's actually quieter than the 422 Alpha when I was riding it. And we talked about the motor. You know, there's all there's technical specs, and again, this is sort of a prototype version, a proof of concept. There's more info, you know, at their website, and you can reach out to them. But I did want to do a ride test. That's part of the fun here. Yeah. So I might can I get on this? And,
absolutely.
It seems like moving this around, when you kind of pick up the rear and can taxi it like this. Okay, there we go. And with the 422 Alpha, we were talking about loading it into your car. You can kind of, if you've got a hatchback, you can face the rear wheel in and maybe put that on the console where your arm is, and the boom is adjustable and stuff. So if you had someone helping you, you guys are trying to keep this, what's the weight range?
We're trying to keep this one under 100 pounds as well. It'll vary for anywhere from mid 70s up to about 100 pounds. So
okay,
we're gonna have up to 3 kilowatt hours of battery capacity on this.
Wow.
20 miles of range.
Up to 3 kilowatt hours. So I mean, it's intense. And they've got, what is this, Cycle Analyst 3 on this?
Yeah, it's a V3 Cycle Analyst. So you can control the different power levels. It has the ability to start from a complete stop on a steep hill.
Right.
So you can be anywhere and get going. People can use it for hunting, any kind of personal mobility around the woods where you need a light vehicle.
Wow.
This is a great application.
That's intense. That is intense. It just really opens up the world.
It does. You know? It does. Yeah.
Gets people out there. Okay, enough talking. Let's let this machine out of the cage here. Okay, so I'm in. Again, no pedals on this setup. It's got the foot tray, so your feet would be like this. Here's the throttle. Just twist it. Oh, actually, here is the power switch, so you can kind of bump that however you need. It's meant to be a little bit easier to access. There we go. Nice and smooth. I was kind of like jerking my way a second ago. And this one's set up with both brakes are actuated through just one lever on the right hand side. So I'm gonna try to show that, get some speed. There you go. Reach over here. Very cool. These guys are doing some cool stuff, and this is definitely a unique electric bike in the space. I've looked at a lot, but I've never seen anything quite like this. It's the Outrider Horizon. Check it out. For more info on this and other electric bikes, see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com.